All right, guys, welcome back to the shop. It's been a minute since I did a live stream. Working on putting the face frame and the drawer faces onto the kitchen galley, and this process it's been really challenging just because it's such a custom piece. Typically, what I do is we'll have a pre-built piece that we can install and modify. For this one, decided to do a custom piece. And it's kind of turned into more of an art piece than a custom piece. Pretty challenging, but because it's been so challenging, I thought it'd be good to get on a live stream as I'm finishing this up to show you what was some difficult parts about putting this together and assembling it, the materials I used, and some other things that I'm going to show you. What this video is about today is we already have all of our drawer faces finished. So the face frame, as you can see, it's already been put on here. It's already had a couple of coats of paint. This is going to get a final coat. As you can see, we just got a little bit of nicks that we're going to paint over once this is all fully assembled. So in this video, we're going to get our drawer faces on these next three, prep this door, and the kitchen galley will be finished essentially. It'll go ahead and go in the van today. But the next thing that we have is we've got these latches. So these are marine latches. These have also been a really challenging part because they depend on not only the thickness of the wood, but the position at the top of the drawer to click into the piece of the bracket that actually holds the drawer closed. And so that's even more of a challenge too, because you want it to, so this bottom one is done perfect. So when you open it up, you want it to open easy. When it closes, this has soft close. You want it to positively latch when you push it. But you don't want it to latch weakly, or weak, for lack of a better word, to where it clicks on you. So this one is done correctly, but imagine you had a drawer, and even though that this closed and this clicked, imagine that the drawer could still kind of open out just a little bit. So when you're driving, the potential for the drawer to rattle is really high. So with this one, what I have is the soft close point in, and then there's no weight in the drawer. If there's weight in the drawer, this will close on its own, but there's no weight, so I do have to push it to get that nice satisfying click, but that click lets you know that the drawer is fully shut. Now, this will not rattle. The way that I have this, you can see when I push it, there's some bend back. So what that's doing is that's keeping this latch engaged with this piece that's inside like that. And the pressure is holding it against it, so in theory, it's not going to rattle. So that's how this whole thing's going to be built. So today what we're going to show you is how did I cut this out to be so flush and clean? How do I take this panel, drill and glue it to this in order to make it even around all the edges so it looks professional. I've got my phone here too, so if you guys have any questions. I'll show you how this is going to be glued onto here, and then finally I'll drill a hole through here. Now there's two challenges that I had. One was when I drilled this hole out, it's got to go through two pieces of Baltic birch, and that just has to be the way I designed the drawers. But those two pieces it goes through, this latch is only designed for one piece of wood. So the fridge stack that I did inside, it's okay because the drawer is not as high as this. The drawer goes down. And that was designed so that you could take the drawer out inside the van just from its position. This one's different. It's in a different position in the van. Anyway, so because of that, I have to cut out, get the piece of wood that I used here. I actually have to cut out with a multi-tool this square piece on the back of the drawer. The challenge is I can't do it ahead of time because I don't know where the hole is going to be precisely. But each one of these drawers has to have this piece cut out. And yeah, all this kind of is a domino effect. So when you approach to put the latch in this configuration, the next thing is probably going to interrupt what you're doing. And so this piece is taking the longest out of anything that I've done to the van. Now, I want to make sure it's done right, and I have a vision in my head of what it's going to look like. And so far, it's excellent. It's just taking much longer than I anticipated. Anyway, so this piece is going to have to be cut out of this drawer. So each drawer, this piece. What's nice is I have a template now, so I can sketch this on each drawer, and then I can cut this piece off the back. Now, so why do I have to cut this out? Because the marine latches that, now these are the ones that pretty much anybody can get off of Amazon. But if I show you this, here's the marine latch. And if you can imagine, if you have two pieces of wood, so here's the first piece and here's the second piece. This ring right here, this retaining ring, they have it for 1/4 inch, half, but if we go to 1 inch, it gets in the way of the latch. So I'm going to take the screws out so you can see what I'm talking about, in case you want to do this at home. Okay, so here we got the part, and so the latch typically will be sandwiched like this. So if you have a 1/4 inch piece of ply, this is the orientation. When you get to have that 1/2 inch, it's a little bit wider. But if you come out here, you see it interferes with the latch. So what we need to do is I have to cut out this piece right here so that when this piece is removed, this can actually go back. So that piece is removed, and this can go back like that. And then that way, now the latch can actually move. Again, figuring all that out and learning how to do that takes time. But it's looking so good that it's keeping me going. Next, what I did was, the other hard part about this is finding out where I'm going to mount this latch. Because each drawer is going to be just slightly off a little bit, and if you want it to function properly over time, hundreds if not thousands of opening and closing, this needs to be solidly mounted, needs to be adjustable, but at the same time, wherever it sits, you need to be able to be flexible so that if this drawer is, for whatever reason, like a 16th off or whatever, I have enough room to adjust this up or down. So the adjustments I have on here are front to back for the latch. But this block, what I'm doing is, this block goes in, and I find out where I want it, then I take my pencil, mark on the back, and then that is where it stays. And then I'll actually glue it and then pin nail it in place, and that's kind of where it is forever. And that's pretty much the system I've come up with. And I did a bunch of these. So I have one for all the drawers, and I'm even going to be using the same method for this part right here. Now, what I'll probably have to do is kind of redo my positioning. But again, custom van building, everything is, each part is new. So that's what, it's fun at the same time, but you know, I definitely want to knock out this kitchen galley today. But if you guys are watching, make sure you guys are subscribed. We also have a website, vanbuilderhq.com. I have a free DIY cheat sheet on there. It's going to help you look at a bunch of parts and products that I use. All the stuff I bought off of Amazon. And you can look at it. It's got over 250 items on it. And it's stuff I've actually bought and had shipped to the shop. So great way to get kick-started with your van conversion. It's completely free. It's essentially an Excel document. But check it out. Link is in the description below. You can also go to vanbuilderhq.com. All right, so back to here. This face frame was actually a solid piece of Baltic birch, and I used a track saw to cut out each of these openings. And so that's how this came out so clean. But you can double dip. Once you clean out the openings or cut the openings out with the track saw and a jigsaw on the side, the panel that you have left, if you do a nice, neat job, is the panel you're going to sand the edges down, clean up, and use for your drawer face. So this is actually part of the face frame. All right, so we're getting right into it now. I'm ready to go ahead and start assembling this. And what we're using 1-inch Craig screws. And what we've done is, the method that I use, if this is a blind, like you can't get your hands back here, the way that I do this is I put 2 pieces of double-sided tape. I'll take the drawer face, I'll stick it to it with these little like tongue depressors. They give me enough room on the bottom. And then I stick it, I pull the drawer out, drill into it, define my holes, take the screw out, then I'll put the wood glue on here, reassemble it, and then put it back in. Thankfully, we are able to have access to the back of this. So we're just going to we start at the bottom and we work our way up so we can have access through the top of the kitchen galley. So now what I'm going to do, I'm ready to actually glue this to the face. And I've got a couple things ready to go. I've got my screws here. Now these are 1-inch screws, but the Baltic birch we're using is just a hair under a 1/2 inch. So we need to use a washer to make sure that we don't pierce through the drawer face. So just kind of like a safety, in case the drill catches and wants to go a little bit deeper, we got something to hold us back. So we got our 3 screws ready. We'll just set them aside. The next thing we're going to do is get some nitrile gloves. We're going to use this to just, so we can be kind of messy with the glue. Don't have to clean up, we can just throw the glove away. Once again, if you guys have questions, van related, just put those in the chat. But yeah, these tongue depressors, you can get them at Lowe's by the paint stir stick aisle. They're going to allow us to have that offset. Now, you need to test your drawers. The drawers that we're using on here, these drawer slides are very nice. So these are very nice. They're Rockler's new undermount drawer slides. So what's good is you can put a lot of weight on here, if I don't knock the whole thing over. You can put a lot of weight on these drawers and really fill it up. But because the drawer face, because they're undermount, you can have these clips on the bottom and you can pull the clips off and you can see we have adjustments here in the drawers. I've got this really dialed in, so John and Susan shouldn't have any reason to adjust the drawers at all. But you can change the left to right, up and down, drawer face, all that good stuff. My advice is don't touch this because I've got this dialed in exactly how it's supposed to be. But you can see here, really nice undermount drawer slides. Now, when this goes on here, there's 2 pins, or 2 holes in the back, and that's really important. So these undermount drawer slides, these fingers that go in the back, they keep the drawer from flipping out. Because what's kind of wild about these undermount drawer slides is, as you can see, the drawer is really just laying on this track. And then in the very back, you're putting it in those holes. And then it is clicking into place. Now, again, the challenges with this, I've never used these undermount drawer slides before, and everything with this has to be dead on. Has to be perfect. There's no adjustment for messing up a front to back, because the pin in the back has to seat fully in the back, and you have to build a box. You have to build it perfect. That's all I can say. So I had to redo these boxes because I was off on one of my measurements, but from the back to the front, it has to be exact. I think this is 17. What was this? It's like 17 and 11/16 or something like that. Or maybe 15/16. 17 and 15/16 I think is what it was. It had to be perfectly on that 16th, because if you can imagine, when this shuts, this seated depth here has to be exactly what you want your face to be. So when this face goes on, to achieve this, this look of it just being a clean face, it has to be, I mean, dead on. So that was a learning curve, trying to figure out how to do that. But the end result is just, it's great. It's a very, very good high-end drawer slide with the marine latch. It's awesome. I really like it. Okay, next, let's see here. We're going to, where was I? We're going to glue this face on. All right, here we go. So yeah, we're going to make sure our drawer is seated in here, right where it's going to be. Now, one thing we might have to fine-tune once John and Susan start using this van, because I have this so precise, the bottom face of this, depending on the weight of the drawer, a fully loaded drawer is actually better in this case, because it keeps the drawer nice and level. But there is just a slight kind of up and down with the drawer, just because of the slides themselves. So this gap may need to be increased, but that's for me to do, just to fine tune the drawer. I played around with loading these drawers up, and it looks like, you know, it's not going to be an issue. So we need to pop the drawer out just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and start getting some glue on here. We want to make sure we don't put glue where this will be cut out right here. So when I put the glue down, you guys will see this in a second. I'm just going to come up and under like that. I don't want the glue on that section. I do want the glue everywhere else. So all along the sides, the bottom. And then I got my gloves just to catch when this stuff starts running. But really, these sides are definitely where it needs to be, and the tops. Okay. So now that looks good, we can go ahead and close our drawer. Then we're going to get our spacers here. And we got an arrow so that we make sure that this is the same orientation that we cut it out. That sounds like it may not be a big deal, but the visual reveal, you know, if you kind of came in a little bit with the saw this way, that's what we're trying to make sure looks right. All right, so a couple of places that this is going to be lightly clamped. Top right, and we're actually going to take out the bottom drawer so that we can put some pressure on the this bottom face, because we don't want the panel tilting like that when we screw it in, because this will be the final screw in. That's why we put glue on it. So again, if you want to take it out, you just got these two clips in the bottom. I got to be careful because I've got this thing kind of not sitting too well. Anyway, it's just two clips, and then I went with 18-inch drawer slides because instead of 24 or 20 or just any other number, because when you're in the van, if you needed to remove this drawer, you need the refrigerator is right here. So you need it to be able to be picked up and taken out of the van. So if you're building something and designing it, make sure that you design it to be worked around. So we'll just pull this back in. So now we can take our third clamp, and then this one is going to go just right under here. And you can see this is another reason that we're going to repaint this, is because we're going to be clamping, and you want to get your base coat of paint on. You want to start building those layers. It's the only way you're going to get that cabinet style finish. It's a bunch of layers of paint. So this, we probably got 4 coats, maybe 5 coats some places. All right, so just gonna get that drawer where we want it. Make sure that these are not binding. We still want to have a little bit of movement. Now we're going to take our 3 screws. Start putting them in place. And let me know if the live stream is sounding good, looking good. Looks a little delayed on my phone for some reason. Now we're going to take... Nope, it looks, that's okay. Okay, 3 screws. Make sure we have a decent torque setting on our drill so we don't strip this screw. So we got our first one. We're just going to check the drawer alignment. Looks good. And one more. Okay, we got those 3 in. Okay. So now our drawer face is on. And I'm just going to leave those clamps on just for a minute while I go ahead and take some measurements. I think I got to take them off. So now we need to find the center of the drawer, and then we're going to we can test our drawer here. So this side is good. We still have that gap right there. This right side came down just a little bit. So before I paint it, what I'm going to do is just sand a little bit over here. But that way now we got a nice clean drawer face. Okay, so next, I'm going to turn the mic down. I'm actually going to knock that out right now. Okay. So you can just make a little fine-tune adjustments like that. So now this is perfect. Okay. Next, we need to pop the drawer out, and we're going to take our square, and we're going to measure just the drawer. So you got 19 3/8, and this is a contractor's calculator. It's really awesome because you can do 19" and then do 3 divided by 8, and then you can divide it by 2, and it gives you 9 11/16. So it gives you a fractional answer, and it's really very convenient if you're a builder. So you got 9 11/16. So that's our center. We pop it out. We've got right there. Just gonna make a couple marks here. Now I come halfway down. This is for my latch, and then I want to come halfway down, and then I want to come down 3/4 of an inch from that. And so that is my center point for where I'm going to drill my hole. I'm going to take a hole punch, or center punch. I'm going to back off. I'm just going to verify. So I want to come half, quarter, 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 right there. Okay. This is what it was really what took the longest time, is figuring out. So usually I work with 80/20, and the 80/20 aluminum, where the bracket goes, I can actually mount it up into the, and this is only because I have done it before and haven't done it before in this. But the 80/20 channel is 1.5 inches, so my bracket can go right in the middle at 3/4. And on this one, it's pretty close, but what I had to do was figure out how high is this going to be so that it can engage with this clip back here. And I think that's why a lot of people don't use this. I think these look the best. But they're really hard to work with because there's it's kind of no instructions. You have to really be able to figure out this in your head. So you got to find out where you're going to start. And so I just made something up, 1/2 inch looked pretty close. And I stuck with that, and I made the first drawer that's in the fridge stack that way. And then this one allows me to do 2 things. I can do just up and down. And then these screws allow me to go back forward or backwards. I know where this goes now. It's a 1/2 inch down plus 3/4 because the hole to drill out this is 1.5 inches. So I'm at 3/4 of an inch is my center. And then this piece on the back, I've already done it so that it's going to latch in where I want it to be. And I just made a bunch of these. So yeah, it's probably why these are challenging to use, but they look really good. So we're going to turn the volume down and we're going to get our hole saw. And if you're into buying tools and equipment, don't cheapen out on your hole saw. It's what's going to give you the most headache. On one of the first adventure vans that I did, I used a cheap Harbor Freight hole saw to drill out some precise hole in the sheet metal. It was not the right size. It made it about almost 1/4 inch too big. I'm using these Spider hole saws. Are really nice. So this middle part actually has a latching feature, so you can actually push this out to get your plug out that you've cut. It locks into place, and then it has this collar you can pull down and actually unscrew this and change to a different blade. And it locks back into place. So it's a really nice, precise piece of tool. All right, let me redo my drill. I'm going to turn the volume down here just for a second. Okay, we got our, as you can see here, we've got our hole cut out, and then we've got that opening opened up so that our ring can actually fit inside. So I'll just hit that with a little bit of sandpaper. Get those edges off. And there we go. So now we can take the drawer, put it back in, and we can move on to the next part. So you see the door just clicks in, and then, I mean, technically you could just have this pull and then have those click latches if you wanted to do that, but now we're going to take this. Now we're going to have to take this hardware all off again because we need to clean up, and then we'll put a final coat of paint on here. But we're going to put our piece on, our screwdriver. And we're just going to lightly put those screws in because we need to center it up on the face. And this is important because we're actually going to be fitting. This will the clip in the back, the retaining clip or whatever you want to call it. That part in the back is what's going to pretty much be forever. So we need to make sure that that is accurately put in. Now, this actually does have adjustment. So you can loosen this and move it up or down, left or right. So I kind of go higher when I initially tighten this down. So there you go. This is that's what the latch looks like, which looks really nice. So the next step is we're going to take one of our blocks here. And we're just going to take a pencil and the block, and we're going to start playing around with where this thing wants to actually hang out. So I've got it. I'm going to go put it back behind the clip, and then just kind of feel. So you see how my drawer? See that? So I don't want that. So what that means is I need to move my bracket back. It looked like it wanted to go maybe all the way back. Okay, so we got a bracket in there. Oh, okay, so that's solid. I can't even move the drawer at all. So now I need to lift it up. Now it's too high. So let's try that. Okay, that's perfect. So let's grab our pencil and mark where that's at. All right, so that is perfect right there. So now we're going to make sure our pin nailer is ready to go. We're going to get some glue on this. And this one, we want to make sure that our glue, we do spread it on this one. We got such a little area. All right, so we got one thing of glue. Now when you put the glue on here and the clamp, it's gonna wanna float all over the place, but that's okay. Just be patient until you get it put together back here. You can actually let the glue set up just for a minute and it'll stop it kind of being wobbly on you. But get it kind of where you want it, get some pressure on it. Make sure the drawer can still open, because when we sink these pin nails in, that's forever. We're not going to go back. Okay, so let's check out the back and see what it looks like. Looks pretty good. I see that this is actually, we need to rotate this. Now, all this fine tuning is really important because there's really not a lot of surface area that the clamp is clamping on. It's just like a little piece of the metal. And so I can see that I need to go down just a little bit with the block. Yeah, this glue that I use, it sets up really fast, so as you guys can see. I want to come down probably right about there. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, so I like that one. This one is a little bit lower than the other one, so again, that's why it takes a lot of time. There's all these little fine adjustments. We've got a really good grab on the latch. If there's weight in the drawer, it will soft close and latch on its own, but there's no weight, so there's nothing to help it go the extra distance. Okay. That looks good. Now let's put some weight in the drawer on this front. So this is the worst case scenario. So we've got good clearance on the bottom right. It's not rattling. Okay. Now we can take our pin nailer and put some permanent nails in here. All right. So that drawer's done. Okay, just got 2 more to go. If I can put the drawer in correctly. These are going to be a little bit more challenging because our center, so up here we've got, so let's just say this is the top of our drawer, and we're just guessing right now because we know where it's supposed to be, but these 2 drawers are different than these because the space I have for the hole, I'm not sure how much room I actually have. Let's see, we've got half. 1, 2, 3. 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's gonna be really close. So when you have these low profile drawers, one thing you're gonna run into is, you can see the latch is, so right here, this is the base of the drawer. I mean, the latch is almost at the bottom, which doesn't do anything. It's just tight spaces to work with. So we're gonna, stick to the plan. We're gonna do the same method. 2 things are gonna happen on this one. So I'm gonna drill these 2. These are already, so I pre-drilled all these. You guys can see I've already pre-drilled these. These are just holes so that my Craig screws can come through and bite into the face frame. And that's to set the glue, and then they'll just stay there through the life of this to hold everything into place. I have a third one here because I kind of want to pull this. Sometimes this stuff might bow just like just a very little bit, and you want to pull it in until the glue's set. So what I might do is just put this third one in and then take it out before I put this piece in. So you guys you'll see if I do it or if I don't do it. All right, next we need to get our tongue little spacers. Okay. So we've already got that. Let's go over to the bench. We're going to get the pieces, our painted pieces. So back behind here is where I've been painting everything. All these pieces they're numbered, and they tell me the correct orientation to glue them on. So that's number 1. This one is number 2. So number 2 is what's going to go on here. Okay, so let's get some glue on here. And we just want to make sure we don't put glue on our latch, or that spot we're going to cut out for the latch. So same method. So I got a number and an arrow. And if you guys didn't hear me talk about it earlier, I do that because the way that I cut these drawers out, there might be a little bit of a difference left to right. This bottom one holds the panel from kicking out on the bottom, and then we got these that hold it on the top. You're not going to be crazy tight. We just need to have this hold itself into position. And then we're going to go and put these screws in the back. Probably just going to do 2 screws, and then I'm going to move that clamp in the middle, and we'll let it sit there just for a minute. So while that's setting up, we're going to start messing with our hinges for the door. And thankfully, Home Depot sells stainless steel piano hinges. I've been debating between using the European hinges and these piano hinges, but the European hinges not sure if that's the look, it's how I want them to operate here. Let's see, and now I just thought about the side. So I'm probably gonna have it open this way. But what's cool about these piano hinges is you can actually cut them. You can cut them with a pair of 10 snips. They come in 12-inch lengths, but you can pretty much seamlessly put them together to get the desired length that you want, or at least that's what I'm doing. So it looks like we're going to have this here. Have this come out here. Because this will match our, we got our Trolino seat, folding seat that is going to have the same hinge. So that way everything in the van will be pretty much the same. With these piano hinges, you want that same offset so that you can control where that door folds back. So I'm just going to put this here. Let's see. I want this to align with my face frame. So believe it or not, see we got a pair of 10 snips, and we're just going to cut both sides, remove, and then we're going to cut through that bar. So we cut the other side, and you can see we got a nice clean cut on each side. Now again, this will be folded on the inside. You won't see this even if you looked up. You'll never be able to see this. So this will come off, and then that rod we need to clip off as well. And I think I did this in the vise. Nice thing about stainless is we don't have to worry about rust preventing or doing any of that. It is ready to go. Just going to flatten this out. But now you guys can see this top part we cut, and you can't even tell. And we're going to put the cut part at the bottom. So now we have this stainless hinge that's going up here, and then our bottom one just happened to be perfect by cutting one piece off with our height. And in hindsight, I should have measured this more exact. It was hard with it's custom. You know, we've got the sink. So I was going off more of the sink dimension, and I wanted to have the door opening as big as possible. I wasn't considering the type of hinges I was going to use, but that's not a problem. We'll just keep on going. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, if you guys are watching, if you have any questions, give me some questions. I can kind of answer them while I'm working. Where did that go? fell in a drawer. This is also why things take long. The bit that I need decided to walk away. Where did they go? Oh well, that's why I got that tape on here, guys. Make sure you tape your clamp so you don't walk into it. All right, we will have to find that bit later. We're gonna move on. Let's go ahead and get this installed. All right, got it. Got the bit. Got the bit. Now this particular hinge we're using, this is typically the way that you're supposed to use it, like open and close like that, but I do it the reverse, and so this profile will stick out, but this will actually be part of the door. The other benefit to that is you don't have to worry about where this comes out, like flush or not. You can maintain a line that of your choosing. So I want it to be on this inside. Set my clutch on here so I don't strip anything. Okay, make sure you haven't pinched it. Still works. Oh, so that's my dog Nova over there. She's a German Shepherd hanging out in the shop. That's normally where she lays down, but I've always got the camera a different place in the shop. Yeah, Nova, N-O-V-A. Okay, and just keep making sure that you're not pinching this. And again, like I said earlier, you want to make sure you have some type of clearance up here at the top. So don't have this go too high. All right, next up, putting the bottom one in, and this visually, we just want to make sure that this is in alignment. And then for usability, this is right on that seam of my face frame and the kitchen galley itself, so we're making sure that, those places are also lined up. So I'm just using this to set my hole centers. It's probably really loud on the microphone. And we're not going to tighten that one all the way. We want to do the top one, and then we're going to do the bottom one. Actually, I want to pre-drill these. Got a little ahead of myself. I've had to learn to pre-drill a lot of stuff with this Baltic birch that I'm using because it's really, really dense, very, very hard material. Now, if I've done my calculations correctly, put that little, I'm gonna get some more of these. Don't run into that. Our door should be 99% perfect size. And we won't have to actually modify it in any way. I'm just using these as shims on the bottom. And we'll get our door panel. Again, if you guys are just joining, we will be finished painting these. Or putting another coat on here. So, let's see here. Yeah, we might actually have to, we'll probably have to cut this one. top and bottom's okay, but that hinge is just... Yeah, so I have to rip off, I mean, it only needs to like less than a 1/16 of an inch. Just something nice, easy, not crazy. I'm trying to figure out, it shouldn't need it, but I'm trying to figure out why it's... Yeah, so it's a perfect fit, but you know, we need that clearance so the door can actually shut. So we'll work on that. We're going to do the same hinge method over here. Put this into the door. Put the block at the top. So you guys can see, just again, super clean type of setup. There's really nothing over here to rattle, but if John and Susan are in their van, they're right down the road, and for some reason this rattles, we can put a little pad back behind here that the door will shut on. I might go ahead and do that anyway. I did that on Thomas's van. It's a little angle bracket with a pad. Okay, so I need to rip this off. So we will do that off camera because it's time to move back over here. So this one should be good where it's at. We're going to keep everything in place. Well, actually, no, we're going to measure center. So let's get back. Okay. So now we just test the drawer. Looks really good. Put some weight in it here. Let's see if my jigsaw will fit. Barely. Let's put that in there. Put some staple guns. We want to weight the front. Perfect. So that weighted front with no weight on the rear, that's the worst case scenario. Okay, so that works good. All right, so you can fit 1, 2, 3 staple guns, cordless drill. It's pretty good. Okay, now let's get our center. So this is 19.5. See, this is why you gotta, every time this custom work, you really gotta pay attention to your measurements. Because this is, so instead of now 9 11/16, we're 9 3/4 for our center. So don't just assume and just start knocking all your drawers out. Because then your latches are going to be weird. So 9 3/4 is where this center needs to be. Now I know it's just a 1/16 over, but that's the way I do things here. Come down to 1/2 inch, and then we're going to come down an additional 3/4. That additional 3/4 is our center for our latch. So 1/2, 3/4 down in the center. Punch it in. And then we're going to just gently clamp this back up. All right, guys, now this one's going to be the interesting one. This is the one I'm not sure how the back side is going to fare, but we just got to go for it. So here we go. Okay, that was very good. What could have happened was we just go into the bottom of the drawer because the drawer's up so high, but picking a 1/2 inch for all of them seemed to work out. All right, so the drill is you take this back out. I'm going to go onto the other workbench and make sure we work on we take out our 1/2 inch piece of birch that's in the way, essentially. Okay. And we're going to do that, and then we'll be right back. All right, guys, I think my microphone died. Okay, my microphone died, so that means we are we're done for the day. Need to let this thing recharge. I'm going to go ahead over to the table saw, and I'm going to cut out that piece that I was doing earlier for the left side of the cabinet. But yeah, if you guys are still watching this while I'm doing this little audio outro, make sure you guys subscribe, turn that notification bell so you see the next time I go live. We're going to be finishing up this cabinet tonight. Got some other things going on. And then we are going to move on to the next part of this project, wrapping this van build up. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next live stream.